Everybody, Andrew Cuneo back again. Today I'm going to be playing some Historic with Wilds of Eldraine cards. So this is going to be the Tainted Pact combo deck that I've made a ton of videos on and iterated over a lot over the past, 2 or so years. In my most recent iterations have always been 3 colors. Before that I had always played 2 colors because I thought the mana was a little bit too bad to play 3 colors. And eventually they printed enough dual lands that I thought playing 3 colors was pretty easy to do. But with the Wilds of Eldraine cards, in particular Beseech the Mire, I wanted to try to play more of a combo build, and I'm just going to play straight blue-black because I'm trying to play a triple black card in a deck that uses a triple blue card, and you can only play singleton lands, so it's a little bit rough, the colored mana. So my previous iterations of this deck, it was always sort of like a singleton control deck that had this combo kill. This build is going to be slanted a little bit more towards being a combo deck. Like there's still going to be a decent number of control elements, but I'm shifting a little bit more towards the combo end of the spectrum because I think Beseech the Mire it gives you redundancy on Jace and on Tainted Pact, so you get more of the I've got 6 mana and I just kill you draws, or I guess it mostly only helps with the 6 mana kill you draws. It's not going to work out to like end of turn Tainted Pact on turn 3, untap Beseech the Mire to find a Jace to kill you, because you'd have to know that the Jace was in the bottom of your deck to do that. But this helps you combo kill at 6 mana, certainly if you draw Tainted Pact, and then at 8 mana if you draw Jace and Beseech. So in order to facilitate bargaining, I had to incorporate as many token artifact enchantments as I could, which was a little bit rough. I've got, I think, 8 right now. I've got Soul Guide Lantern, Chromatic Star, which I would not be playing Chromatic Star if it was not for bargaining. I've always sort of liked playing Soul Guide Lantern. Omen of the Sea, which is another one. When I went to 3 colors, I took this out of my deck because I was playing Expressive Iteration instead, but, Omen of the Sea is not the worst card in the world, then it gives you something to bargain away. The token from Bowmaster, Wishclaw Talisman, which is another card that's making a return for this more combo-oriented build of the deck. Cold Steel Heart, that's another one that I'd moved away from, but it helps with bargain, and it's not the worst card. I've always played Mazemind Tome, I like that card. And then I think, the One Ring. This is another thing. For a while, I wasn't really sure if it was worth playing the One Ring in the builds of the deck I was playing, because you can't play multiple One Rings to get rid of it, so it did sort of put you under a clock where other 4-mana options might not have. But now I've got Beseech, which is a way to get rid of the One Ring, and you can use your own Otawara to bounce it. I think that's about it for ways to get rid of it. Well, there's the other bargain card I've added, which is Farsight Ritual. I kind of suspect this card is not as good as Memory Deluge, but I figured I would try it, given that I'm setting my deck up for bargaining. So Beseech and Farsight Ritual are the only 2 Wilds of Eldraine cards I've incorporated. I consider playing with Quick Study, but I think it's just worse than Sauron's Ransom, pretty obviously, and I didn't really want more of that kind of an effect. Also, you need to be pretty wary when you're playing cards that actually say draw a card on them in Historic because of Orcish Bowmasters, rather than card advantage cards that don't trigger the Bowmasters. So Sauron's Ransom is just a much better card than Quick Study, I would say. What was the other thing I wanted to touch on? That's a good question. I don't really remember. I guess the other thing I was going to say was, because I am playing Beseech in a singleton deck, there are some pretty good one-ofs to hit, namely Languish and Shieldred. I could see wanting to get Narset maybe occasionally against another blue deck. Those are the main things, though. If you haven't seen a blue-black build of this deck before, the lands might look a little bit weird. So in order to get enough dual lands, I'm playing Island and Snow-Covered Island, Snow-Covered Swamp and Swamp, and Fabled Passage, which I guess those things aren't dual lands, but in order to get enough lands without having 2 of any one land. You need to do that. I also have half-colored pathways, which if you look at the sideboard, I do have a Path of Peril in my sideboard, so in theory, maybe I would benefit from the white mana. I think I have some of the red ones in here too. I do have I have the red ones and the black ones. And I've got a Raffine's Tower and a Xander's Lounge. They're like slightly worse versions of Fetid Pools, essentially. And then also I've got Castle Lochthwain, which I'd moved away from in the 3-color versions, but I do think is a pretty good card. Looking at the sideboard, this is not very different from other Tainted Pact sideboards I've had in the past. I do have like a Mind Spike and a Reckoner Bankbuster in my sideboard. One of the things when I switched from playing straight blue-black to playing blue-black-red that I thought was really nice was I was getting a lot of artifact removal, and I specifically like that against the Esper Sentinel decks. But with the printing of Lord of the Rings cards, and in particular Orcish Bowmasters, I think Esper Sentinel decks are just like, they got demolished from the metagame. It's just... This card is so messed up. Like, the One Ring is probably more overpowered, but Orcish Bowmasters, just adding it to the format, eliminates so many other decks from the format. And it's not even really decks that were trying to draw lots of cards. It's just decks that were interested in playing 1-toughness creatures. Because this is so punishing for any deck that was planning to play 1-toughness creatures, other than Orcish Bowmasters. Hopefully it's removed from Historic at some point. But for now, I'm playing with it, and I expect other people to be playing 4. And in all honesty, one of the things that got me to move away from this deck was I do think Orcish Bowmasters is good against this deck, because this is a deck that's actually trying to draw multiple, play things that say draw a card on it, which is actually not very common in Magic at this point. In general, card drawing is like somewhat underpowered. Anyway, that's the deck. Let's jam some matches, see if we can get some Beseech the Mirror kills. Against turn 1 Spire Bluff Canal, I'm going to play my tap land to start, and then go from there. Mesmeric Orb. I don't know what they're trying to mill me, I guess, but I have Bruvak the Grandiloquent. Frame Sanity. Yes, I got them to put their Otawara into play. Otawara is the bane of trying to kill people with Jace Mysterious Wielder. I think I tried to play this deck in Explorer a long time ago. Frank Sanity Plus. Is this the one that mills half? No. I guess if you kick it, it mills half. Not sure this card exists. There was a different card that mills half. But like that plus Fraying Sanity, you hope is a way to kill your opponent, but it usually it doesn't work if your opponent has an odd number of cards in their deck. It doesn't one-shot them. I guess as long as you have the Mesmeric Orb too, then you got a pretty good shot at killing them. I'll help you out, opponent. I'll mill myself some. Does this thing work? At the beginning of each end step, is there a swamp in my deck still? Let's get that swamp out of here. Oh, Fabled Passage comes into play tapped and then untaps. I had no idea that was how that card worked.
Always an answer.
The One Ring knocks curses off you. That's another thing I had no idea that's how that worked. I kind of would have preferred the curse on me, to be honest. Oh no. I was a fool. I killed myself. I just had to go for the throat up and I would have won. I had no idea they were going to have 6/4 hasty dude in their deck. I don't think I can win from this point. I know I milled one of my other Jaces. I think the Takenuma's gone as well. Wow. I snatched defeat from the jaws of victory there. Is anybody else bothered by the fact that you can no longer drag your sideboard cards in? Like, I liked being able to drag them over here, so I guess you can drag them, but they just tend to disappear. I don't know. It's a disaster, whatever it is. That's all stuff that seems reasonable. Guess I want Heartless Act for whatever that 6/4 guy was. Won't change the equation. Probably not. They were mostly blue cards. Masters actually doesn't seem like it did very much against their deck. Same with Shieldred's Edict. Though I guess Shieldred's Edict's probably better than Heartless Act. Oh, they had the Phyrexian Jace. So Shieldred's Edict's definitely better. Let's try it like that. Maybe I should have left more creature removal in my deck. I didn't see the Ruin Crabs in game 1. It's also the case that now that I know that I need to protect my Jace from that unearthed thing, it's maybe not that big of a deal that they're milling me. Is that a good card? Yeah, I think that's good enough. I countered that just because if they hit both of my Jaces, I lose. And they were probably going to get not half my deck, but a substantial amount. And like their deck is, it's going to be all, I think most of the cards I can counter, it's going to be decisions like that. Milling double. Okay. How many more lands? Tiny risk here that if both my Jaces are cards 2 through 7, they kill me here. But if they were, like, if my second Jace is exactly in position 7 in my deck, this kills me. It wasn't. If my second Jace was in position 2 through 6, it also would have killed me, but there would have been nothing I could have done about it. Thoughtseize is good. I'm going to probably beseech a Jace into play here, and I'm a little worried that they had a way to interact with that. Do have a way to interact with that. Alright, so I guess I want to try to put Jace into play in a spot where I can just win with it immediately. It's going to get trickier to do. Need to get more cards out of my deck. They don't even try to attack me with Bruvac. Oh, no, they are. Bruvac is moving in for the kill. So I'm milling 6 cards right now. Up to 10 cards. Please don't hit both Jaces. 1 Jace down. So I can play the Jace, try to miscast. If I just pass, they can mill me for 6 if they have a land, and then I'll have a decent shot at killing them. Crab's getting in on the action too? Does that land kill me? Because if I miscast, they just pay, and I die. Play this, mill myself. They bounce in response. I lantern, I still die. Yeah. I think that I have to just hope they don't draw a land for the turn. Or a card that can mill me. Like, this is very unlikely to work. Man, that was close. I don't think there was a way I could get out of that. Tell me in the comments how I screwed up. We have a Yorion gamer. Oh, this is a Gates deck. I was like, Golgari Guildgate, what's going on? Why would you do that to yourself? And the answer is they're a Gates deck. This deck was really popular the last time I was playing Historic, and it seemed really terrible to me. I was playing Yawgmoth, and like the Yawgmoth deck just almost always combo killed them before they could do anything. I guess the theory is that this is good against the Black One Ring decks. Wait a second. Settle the Wilds. Why do you want to get a basic land into play? Maybe this isn't a... Gates deck. It has to be, though, right? If I just put Jace into play next turn, do they have much they can do about it? Hopefully not. Like the slow version of the combo.
No. This is all just an illusion.
Yeah, there are mazes in Primeval Titan deck, so I guess they are a Gates deck. Why would you play Settle the Wilds in their deck? Meant to have full control on there. Guess I want Ether Gust. Man. I do not like that my cards disappear when I click on them. I really do not like it. Definitely don't want Languish. Don't think I want Fatal Push. I probably don't have enough cards to board in this matchup, but I feel like almost none of the cards in their deck matters. Board in Negate. It's another matchup where I'm going to take Bowmasters out of my deck. Just play Memory Deluge. This is better. They are putting me under a decent amount of pressure to piece together the combo pretty quickly. So I don't just die to Maze's End. So this is 3 gates. Oh no, wait, that's not a gate. This is the good gate. Baldur's Gate is the good one.
Prowess.
So this is a kill. Next turn, if they tap out, I can go end of turn, Tainted Pact, find a Jace, Tainted Pact to get rid of my deck. I might not do that if they just keep their mana untapped. But if they play Primeval Titan, I'll kill them. If they play Yorion, I'll probably try to kill them. How much mana would they have untapped after they played Primeval Titan? This doesn't actually produce additional mana yet, so now they're dead. Presuming that I can do this combo without misclicking, which is always an issue. So find a Jace, step 1. Get my deck down to 1 to 3 cards left in it. Step 2. Got 1 mulligan. Yes, I'll wait a turn to Inquisition them. It's one of those things where it depends on what the deck is, what the right decision is. It seems like they're an Enchantress deck, so waiting was probably good. They're not an Enchantress deck. They're some sort of Green Devotion deck, I guess. Forget how this thing works. They can get a creature from their sideboard, but I think they have to have a creature in their hand to start with, maybe?
Leviathans, octopuses, serpents. Oh, I love them all.
I can probably safely kill a mono green deck just by Talisman for Jace, pass the turn. End of their turn, Tainted Pact away my deck.
One drop.
Haywire Might, alright. We got something going on here. The weighted halfling. I don't think I'm desperate to kill Grizzled Huntmaster. So can this get cards just from exile? Creature card you own from outside the game. So I guess you can. Or no, maybe you can't. Is outside of the game just your sideboard, and then Karn the Great Creator specifically says exile or outside the game? Maybe, I think that's right. I don't think they could go and get the Haywire Might again if I put it into their exile zone. But no need to really find out. So I guess that they've decided they didn't want to play Llanowar Elves and Elvish Mystic because of all of the Bowmasters. Instead they're playing Utopia Sprawls and whatever the Devoted Halfling. I guess that's like a reasonable conclusion to make.
Challenge.
Is it possible they're also a Karn the Great Creator deck? They went and got a Haywire Might, but they have creatures in their sideboard for the Huntmaster. I don't know. I'm not really sure what's going on with their deck exactly. Pretty sure Ether Gust is going to be good against it. Maybe I want Ritual of Soot? Guess I don't need that. Narset's actually kind of good against that Kiora they had. I might want Negate. They probably have Karn the Great Creator. At a minimum, they have that Kiora. What don't I want? Is Bowmaster's getting the cut again? Is Bowmaster so good that it's hated all of the decks that it's good against out of the format? Maybe. And mulligan a ton again. Mulligan once, I think.
Bet you've never been hugged by a kraken before.
Guess I'm going to name blue so I can cast my Archmage's Charm. It does mean I can't necessarily cast my Beseech the Mirror. And I can't cast it next turn. They are a Karn deck. Ugh. I just played a Cold Steel Heart. Yuck. I can Beseech the Cold Steel Heart away still, which is something. I guess Utopia Sprawl is just an upgraded Wolf Willow Haven for this deck.
I love to make a splash. Not to brag, but my friend's kind of a big deal. Nature flows with vigor.
My allies
They did just mill a bunch of cards, so I can counter something with Drowned in the Lock. 2. Easiest way to get out of this game is to seek new knowledge and find a Jace. They're playing a backup. That doesn't seem worth doing. They got a card out of it, but is that really worth their mana?
The ocean surges, life thrives.
Alternately, I can counter this, but just delaying for 1 turn. Backup Karn's kind of annoying.
I will rid you of your corruption.
Do they have the mana to use the Stone Brain? They do. What's this Stone Brain over here from? I just died to 13 damage. So I was right about them having Karn. I think I would rather have Spell Pierce than have a 2 mana 1/1 removal card. Maybe I'll play Fatal Push. It's already in my deck. I'll just play Duress too. Guess I'm going to turn 1 to rest them. I can hit Utopia Sprawl. If Wolf Willowhaven and Utopia Sprawl in the deck. Interesting. Going to consider now so I can figure out which land I want to play for the turn. It's going to be a Castle Vantress, which would be coming into play tapped. Nissa in their deck. That's naughty. Just trying to buy time. Seems weaker on their part than playing Storm the Festival. Maybe they were worried I would be able to counter the Storm the Festival. This is probably just hope their Storm the Festival bricks and scry into Tainted Pact is my best shot at winning. If I had played the Cold Steel Heart, I would have had access to 8 mana, so my Beseech the Mirror would have been a win as well. Though not if they get a Karn into play. But if they get a Karn into play this turn, they're probably going to kill me anyway. So I may have slightly reduced my chances of winning. They do anything with this Grizzled Taunt Master? Well, I don't get to know what it is. Because it's an alchemy card. It's just a creature. They have a creature. Is it going to be some creature they can spend a ton of mana on? It's not a Delighted Halfling. There's no way that's what they got. It's a Questing Beast. That doesn't really change things. That doesn't do anything. I think they could beside you me if I scry. Not sure if that's a mandatory search or not. It's a May, so it's an optional search. I really just need it to be Tainted Pact. It's the only card that does anything. Change the equation does nothing. Blackleaf Cliffs. Do I want to censor them, or do I want to play Cold Steel Heart? I think I want to censor them. I don't think against the lands they've shown I actually want to just jam a turn 4 Jace into like them getting to resolve a 3-drop. Oh no, what have they got? It's just Wielder, boring. Looking for a ransom. Any ransoms? These don't have the One Ring. 7 million Fable of the Mirror Breakers. It's fine, I guess. I'm going to be at 10 from this and presumably a triggering in my upkeep. Find Tainted Pact, I just win. If I don't find Tainted Pact, I'm not actually in that bad a shape, though. 2 cards in the yard. Probably going to be able to snap, kill the Shieldred. No. Instead, I'm going to snap. Soaring's Rancid. It's Bowmaster. So I'm going to 4 down to 2. I can win by gaining life with Cling to Dust if I find Tainted Pact. Just gonna hope my top card is Tainted Pact. Spoiler, it wasn't. Can I live? So I Bowmaster that. I have 2 blockers. One of them dies. I block that. I go up to 5. After Cling to Dust, I take 3 down to 2. Die on my draw step. Yeah. Quite good. I think I want to negate against this deck. Over Languish. I'll leave Change the Equation in my deck just because they had Fable and Mirror Breaker. And it can hit Thoughtseize, Duress, Shieldred's Edict. Other than that, I don't think I'm going to sideboard. Thoughtseize to knock their Thoughtseize out of their hand. I was expecting them to just play a Bowmaster there. Is Beseech good enough? I think it might be. I have to live to 6 lands. And I have to keep the Mazemind Tome. But I think that's doable. for Censor here. It's also possible I could beseech for something other than Jace, but probably not. So I would go down to 10. I drew with the Mazemind Tome here. Then I could beseech. I took Languish out of my deck, so I can't actually do that. So I guess we're just going to scry. Guess that's a pretty good draw. This is going to be one of those weird times where I think I'm going to jump with the Bowmasters and keep the token, because that means I don't need to keep the Mazemind Tome around to beseech with. So if I cycle now, I should have done this before the Bowmasters was in play. That was stupid. I take 2, I get a 9. I die. Okay, let's not do that. Untap land and I win, probably. Lose to Wielder's Edict. I don't think there's anything I can do about that.
You've already lost. You just don't know it yet.
I'm going to be sad if they have Wielder's Edict in their hand and they made me click through all of this stuff. I'm guessing they don't. And they don't have anything they can do with their blood to find a 1-mana card that does something. Alright, moment of truth, opponent. What do you got? Activate your blood. Die. They went with die. They had more cheap creatures than I was expecting. Do I want cut down? Maybe over the lantern. A lot of times at decks like that, they probably have one or two Croxes. I don't know. It usually just comes down to how good their draw is. Well, nothing. Yeah. It's not nothing, but it's not really that big of a deal. Guess they're going to take my Tainted Pact. Should I Inquisition them? Inquisitioning them is really good if they have a Graveyard Trespasser and don't have Fable of the Mirror Breaker. If they have like 2 Fables, though, it's awful. Or if they have Fable and Graveyard Trespasser, it's awful. Actually, it worked out pretty well. I'm going to cling now because I want to just cycle it, and I don't want to do it when there's a Bowmaster in play. I think I'm just going to end up turning around the lock. Oh, man. Annoying. Alright. I do have Narset. It's going to slow the One Ring down some, at least. Probably should have untapped. Only should have.
So much commotion.
So I deny them 2 cards if I just leave my Narset alone. Let's see what I find here. It's annoying that I screwed up with how I tapped for the Narset, so I didn't get to play the Consider before the Shieldred came out, but that was just... It's a mistakes were made scenario. Yes, I want to land.
You are a mighty warrior. I concede. I have just the trick for this.
Probably just force them to change the equation. take Beseech. I don't have enough mana to Beseech the Omen into a Jace and snap the Tainted Pact in one turn. I think I should have bottomed this land. I was thinking like maybe I wanted to try to get to 8 lands, but they're going to just make me discard a bunch of cards. It's not going to work. I maybe should have just bottomed both, honestly, and just hoped to find a Jace. And have them not have a discard card this one turn, even though they just drew 7 million cards. Go for the throat. I think I'm just going to snap Impulse. Force them to block, or force them to play the Go for the Throat if they want to save their Crucius. And if the Impulse finds my other Tainted Pact, I can kill them. This is only 8 damage. I'll screw them if they have a Bowmaster. I would be kind of screwed. I don't want them to get the Crucius activation, so I'm going to Bowmaster their Crucius, because I think they already played a land. So I'll be able to use my One Ring with impunity and then beseech it away. Damping Sphere. Does that do anything? I guess it does something. I still win if I find Tainted Pact. The stupid Damping Sphere does me in. I would need 10 mana, I think, to... No, I need 11 mana to kill them with Beseech Jace. Dampening Sphere was good. Could I have countered it? Actually, I have mana to do that, and I didn't think to. I don't know. Go for the throat. No, let's change the equation on that. It's a Wielder off. I think I killed him with Otawara, probably, though. I think they're just going to die to a One Ring trigger now. That was a weird game. Very weird game. Well, that went, I guess, about how I expected. Beseech was pretty good. It wasn't game-changing. I stopped having this as my preferred historic deck because I do think that Bowmasters in the One Ring are much better out of opposing decks against you than they are in this deck, which makes it pretty hard for this deck. Like, I don't think you want to play against somebody who just has 8 1-mana discard spells, Bowmasters, and 4 One Rings. I think that makes for a pretty hard matchup. It's just really hard when people can play that level of discard to actually keep the One Ring off the board from them. So it's pretty hard to play like a somewhat intricate way to win where you're trying to set up a 2-card combo and your 2-card combo they can interact with Sheoldred's Edict, or sometimes they can even interact with it with Bowmasters, depending on, you know, if they have some other way to knock some loyalty off of Jace. So I don't know if I'd prefer the blue-black version to the blue-black-red version I've been playing. I think they're both not super well positioned, and I don't know that Beseech really helps change that dynamic at all. I guess Beseech was fun to play with. It was new, but that's the strongest endorsement I can give for that. Yeah, I think that's all I got to say about this deck. Thanks for watching.